Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel, Midwife par Excellence. I am so excited to see you. Yes. I promise not to stay away for long, and see, I am fulfilling all my promises, and today promises to be another wonderful day here on Midwife par Excellence. I thank everyone who has subscribed so far, have listened, right, and they have commented, they have shared, and they have clicked the notification button. So I encourage you to continue to share with a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a family member, to tell a stranger, until we have everybody over here in this community called Midwife par Excellence. I am thankful, and it is always a pleasure to appear with another topic. All right, so we can continue learning each and every day here on Midwife par Excellence. I want to thank you many times over. All right, today is another day that I come to you with a topic that I'm sure some of us would have heard about this before, but you probably never understood it, or you probably just thought it was a joke, you know, and you never really paid much mind to it, you never gave much thought to it. But I am here today with a topic that is it's mind-boggling for some persons, and I'm sure they're gonna be like, I'm sure I'm gonna get some questions. Persons are gonna be like, really? Yes, really. And today we're talking about none other than a didelphys uterus. And that's basically a double uterus. Yes, you're hearing quite well. A woman with two uteri. All right. So today, as per usual, I will be sharing with you the information that I have researched from the various sites and have read. All right. And then I will elaborate where necessary. All right. So we'll be learning a lot today on the didelphys uterus. All right. So what is a didelphys uterus? Now, this is a congenital condition in which a female is born with two uteri. So you don't have one uterus as the normal dictates, right? And we said that it is a congenital condition. So that therefore means that it's congenital, right? And it's not normal, it's abnormal. Now, this female, right? The uteri, which means each uterus, will possibly have only one cervix and a vagina. But there are also cases that each uterus that this woman has its own cervix, and there's a membrane in between which would dictate that she has two vaginas. Listen, this is a topic that while I was doing my research, I was in awe the entire time. You know, imagine how. Okay, all right. So we're looking at the causes. All right, it is a congenital abnormality, which I would have said before. Right, it occurs during fetal development. So somewhere along the line in fetal development, this started happening. Right? Every uterus starts out as two small tubes. As it begins to develop, they are supposed to fuse together, right, to form one uterus. However, in these rare cases, they remain separate, right, and become two uteri. So let's go again. In embryonic development, right, in development of the fetus, the uterus starts out as two tubes, and we call them the Mullerian ducts, right? Somewhere along the line, they are supposed to fuse together to form one uterus. However, something happened, or something didn't happen, and they did not fuse together. They continued to develop separately, right? And hence this female child will be born with two uteri. So one uterus here, one here. All right. Sometimes there is only one cervix for both, right? Other times, each uterus has its own cervix. Often the vagina in these women with a double uteri is divided into two separate openings by a thin membrane. So as I said before, this is a uterus over here. This is another uterus over here. This uterus has its own cervix. This uterus has its own cervix. And there is a thin membrane between both, right? So the woman ends up with a uterus here, cervix here, and a vagina below. Uterus here, cervix here, and a vagina below. Listen, let me tell you, when I was doing this research, I was in awe at this condition. And I'm saying, would you want to be that special female with two uteri? Man, this topic is something. Now we have the symptoms. It is common for a woman with a double uteri to have no symptoms. So many women are asymptomatic, right? They have no issues or anything at all. They're living normal lives, and they will not find out ever until some abnormal situation occurs. All right? This is one of the main reasons why women tend to find out. And it is once they start having recurrent miscarriages. Now, after having recurrent miscarriages, the doctors will be tempted to do certain investigations. And it is not only until then that they will be able to find out that this lady has a double uteri. All right? Menstrual bleed even after putting in a tampon. The woman is still bleeding. So you're having your period and you put in a tampon, and lo and behold, you're still having a heavy flow even after putting in a tampon, and you're like, And it's then that some persons realize that it is actually coming from another part close to where that tampon is. So basically what happened is that the tampon was placed in one side of the vagina. But remember that there's a thin membrane that would have had another vagina over the other side. So that vagina would have been having menstrual flow. So when she put in the tampon, she only stopped one side, but the other side is still free flowing, if you get what I'm trying to say. Right? Now, that will spark, because if I keep putting in a tampon and I'm still having heavy bleeding, which the tampon is supposed to carry me around 4 hours or so before the next change, and it can't even bring me for 2 minutes, I'm still, having free flowing of my menstruals. And I'm like, So that's what has prompted some persons to get assessed. And that's when the diagnosis would have been made, right, of a double uteri. Now, heavy menstrual flow. So of course, if you're having your menstrual flow coming from both sides, when both of them culminate, it's gonna be a lot, right? And it's after assessment, as I would have said before, that this would have been noted that, listen, this woman is having flow from 2 different areas. Now, possible kidney problems due to the ducts involved. All right, now, what I said before, that in the developing female, right, in the developing fetus, the ducts started out as 2 ducts, which are called the Mullerian ducts. Later on, they would have been passed on to another set of ducts that would have been responsible for kidney development, called the Wolferian ducts, right? Now, somewhere along the line, the other would have been affected by the Mullerian ducts in the development of the uterus, right? And that would have caused, because that Wolffian ducts, as we would have said before, would not have been functioning properly either in the development of the kidney, and that child might end up with kidney disorders also. All right. Now, how is it diagnosed? How is double uteri? How is the didelphys uterus diagnosed? As I said before, there would have been some observation before: heavy flow, kidney issues popping up, um, recurrent miscarriages, and such the like, and that would have prompted a pelvic exam. And it is on that pelvic exam the doctors would have said, it can be palpated. Sometimes the doctor asks you to strain down a little bit, and that's when it will be palpated on pelvic examination that something is not right. All right. And of course, if the doctor palpates something that is not right, the first thing the doctor is going to do is request an ultrasound. All right. So an ultrasound of the area. It can be done abdominally. So, all right. So a probe is placed on your abdomen to see what is happening on the inside, and it also can be done transvaginally, where a probe is placed in the vagina to look around to see what is happening, and that's when the diagnosis will be made of a didelphys uterus. All right. Also, we have a sonohysterogram, which fluid is placed into the uterus through the vagina, and a thorough assessment is made. All right. Another one, we have the MRI scan, which is a thorough scan of the pelvic area to note what is happening, and that's when diagnosis is generally made. All right. Another test. All right. They have the hysterosalpingography, and this is a special dye is injected into your uterus, right, through your cervix. As the dye moves through the reproductive organs, X-rays of the different areas to note the shape and the size of the uterus is done. And that is when the diagnosis is made of a double uterus. All right. How is it treated? So you are found to have a uterus over here and a uterus over here, and you wonder, if this should be me, how would this be treated? Well, I have the information right here for you. So it says here that if the woman does not have any symptoms, then no treatment is done. So if you're not having recurrent miscarriages, if you're not having kidney issues, if you're not having a heavy menstrual flow, right? Recurrent miscarriages, as I've said before, then no intervention will be done, right? Because it's just a small amount of women who really have issues with the didelphys uterus. Many persons do live a normal life, all right? Surgery for clients who have recurrent miscarriages in an effort to have a successful pregnancy will be done. So in the event that you have clients that are constantly having recurrent miscarriages, then the decision would have been made for surgical intervention for these clients. All right. But if, as I said before, if you're not having any issues, no intervention will be done. You'll be monitored closely, but no surgical intervention will be done unless you're having recurrent miscarriages. They will try to at least see what they can do so you can have a successful pregnancy. All right. For the women with double vaginas, a surgery to remove that membrane that is between is possibly done for most women, right? So if it is noted that for the woman with the double uteri, she also has a double vagina with a membrane in between, a surgery can be done to remove that membrane so she just has one vagina. All right. All right, so how does the didelphys uterus affect pregnancy? Now, as I've said before, many women they end up having successful pregnancies. They have no symptoms, they have no problems. All right, but there's a small amount of women who go on to have many issues and interventions have had to be done. All right, because of the shape of the uterus, right? Implantation took place in sometime causes miscarriages. So the shape of the uterus has a lot to do with those persons who are having recurrent miscarriages, and that's what I said before. Surgical intervention will possibly done for these persons. All right. These women tend to have smaller uteruses or uteri, which sometimes lead to premature labor. Right. So having one uterus over here and another one over here sometimes causes the organ to be a little smaller than the average or what the expected uterus is supposed to be. So they will not carry a child to term, right? And that's where you end up with these women tend to have preterm labor. Possible early delivery via lower section, cesarean section, if any abnormalities with the baby should occur. So these women have to be monitored closely by their obstetricians. All right. And any sign of any abnormalities with the fetus, delivery is done via cesarean section. All right. So yes. So this topic was very interesting. When I was doing the research, I was in so much awe. I was like, oh my God, these things really exist, you know. But I must tell you that God is a great God and He knows what He's doing. So I implore you to continue to listen to the videos, make your comments, subscribe if you have not yet subscribed, share with a family member, share with your spouse, share with a friend, to tell a stranger, to tell everybody until we have a community over here at Midwife Par Excellence. I thank you again for tuning in. Continue to be safe. Do what you gotta do to protect yourself and your family and your loved ones. And I will be seeing you soon, right over here at Midwife Par Excellence. See you soon.